Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 mod review. It has been a few days since the last video, and so I hope everybody had a nice weekend, but now we are finally back checking out some more Fallout 4 mods, and today we have a wonderful new release, and that is the AMAC 1500 by Tactical. It's been a good while since Tactical has made a mod for Fallout 4, and I'm so glad to see a brand new lore-friendly heavy sniper rifle, and this thing is really cool, really balanced, and really fun. This mod is going to come complete with a fully new custom model and texture for a brand new bolt action sniper rifle. This weapon will actually be a single shot bolt action, so you will have to reload after every single shot, but it's done in a very interesting way. We'll show that off later with the custom animation review. And this weapon does also come with leveled list integration, so those of you who like to find new weapons out in the world, this weapon will do that for you. Of course, this weapon does also come with some attachments at the workbench so that you can customize it as you please, as well as some built-in see-through scopes, as I know a lot of you guys out there really enjoy that. This weapon does come with quite a few quirks that make it very unique from different weapons in the game, and definitely gives a designated sniper role and not much else. Typically with mods, you're able to customize a weapon to do just about anything, and sometimes it's too much. It's nice for a weapon to fit in the role that it's given, and this weapon definitely does that as a very nice, heavy sniper rifle. Let's go ahead and start by checking out the stats so you can see kind of what I mean. This thing has a base damage of a whopping 172, as it is default chambered in 50 caliber. This thing has a fire rate of 2, as like I said earlier, it is a single shot weapon. So what's going to happen is you actually reload the weapon every time you fire. There is no magazine. This has a range of 1,545, which I think is the longest range I've ever seen on a weapon mod in Fallout. It has an accuracy of 181, a weight of 32 pounds, this is a pretty heavy weapon, and a value of 4,750 caps, which may seem like a lot, but this thing is very rare, very heavy, and honestly packs quite a punch, so I think it's very fitting of that value. Now, if you'd like to get your hands on one of these AMAC 1500s, like I said earlier, it is added to the level list and can be found on different gunners and raider bosses after level 20, or alternatively, there is one actually placed out in the world that you can go and find. But if you want to find the guaranteed spawn, it's actually a bit of a scavenger hunt, and the hint provided on the mod page is that you need to go find a note hidden somewhere in the dugout inn. From there, you're going to have to do a little bit of puzzle solving to find the actual location. I'm going to avoid spoilers here in this video and leave that as a bit of a scavenger hunt for you as the viewer. Alternatively, like I said, it is on the level list and you can just find it out in the world on different enemies. And now let's go ahead and check out those custom animations, starting with the very unique reload. As you can see, you reload the entire bolt every time you shoot. You pull the bolt all the way out of the gun and load it in with a new round, which is very unique. Haven't really seen something function quite like that before, and I didn't really know much about this rifle before this mod, but the author has been kind enough to post a whole bunch of history about the weapon and the mechanics of the weapon on the mod page, so feel free to check that out if you're at all interested. Additionally, we do get a custom melee animation with this mod, custom sprinting, and custom grenade throwing. And now let's go ahead and check out some of the attachments available for the AMAC 1500. Starting with the receivers, we have a pretty interesting allotment. We have the standard receiver, which functions normally. We then have the lightweight receiver, which is going to reduce the weight of the weapon by a whole lot, going from 32 pounds to only 8, though it is going to give you less damage and it's going to give you really intense recoil. Though that recoil is kind of mitigated by the super long reload, so not that terrible of a trade-off. Then we have the lucky receiver, which is going to give you much less damage, though critical hits are going to do 20 times more damage. So this is definitely going to be a VATS intended receiver, with those critical hits doing insane amounts of damage. Could one-shot just about anything you run into. Then we have the Magnum receiver, which is going to give you a very high base damage, going from 172 to 344. This is going to give you, again, that superior damage at the cost of reduced accuracy and a higher recoil due to the higher pressure rounds. Then we have the Rapid Receiver, which is going to have the same damage, but it's going to give you a faster reload speed. And then finally, we have the Sharpshooter's Receiver, which is going to give you a higher base damage, and it's going to have that increased reload speed by adding the extra rounds, as well as give you a better critical shot damage. For barrels, we only have the one option, which is the standard long fluted barrel. For stocks, same thing, we only get the Marksman's stock. But we do get some interesting ammo types, starting with your standard full metal jacket ammo. This is just your regular old bullet. We also have armor piercing ammo, which is going to give you less base damage, but it's going to ignore 75% of the damage resistance. So this is great for taking out highly armored enemies like power armor or death claws. Then we have the armor piercing incendiary ammo, which again is going to ignore some of that damage resistance, but it's also going to explode on impact. The depleted uranium round is going to give you a higher base damage as well as 100 radiation damage, and the overall damage will increase the higher the damage resistance is on the enemy you're shooting at. We then have the explosive rounds, which are just exactly as they say. They are explosive rounds, nothing too much more to it there. We then have heat-seeking ammo, which will actually guide towards the target you're shooting at, which is pretty nice when you're using a one-shot weapon. You want to guarantee you hit, because a miss could be pretty fatal. We then have hollow point ammo, which is going to just overall increase your damage, but reduce the armor penetration of the weapon. We have match grade ammo, which is going to give you a better accuracy. We have proof loaded ammo, which is going to do way more damage at the cost of way more recoil. We then have Raufoss ammo, which is going to be high explosive and armor penetrating. Subsonic ammo is going to give you less noise, but it's going to greatly reduce the damage of the weapon. We then finally have the subsonic hollow point ammo, which is going to do the same thing as the subsonic ammo, though it's going to have you do double the damage for sneak attacks. Great to pair this with a suppressor. Then we move on to the scope sections. Here we have the 3x scope, 6x scope, 9x scope, 10x, and 25x scope. All of which are going to be the same model. You can't actually put iron sights or any short sights on this weapon, which is what I was talking about earlier in that this fits a designated sniping role. This is intended to be a sniper rifle and nothing else, so you are going to be using a sight, but you can at least choose the magnification if you want to be using this at a super long range or at a reasonably short range. And then finally, we have a muzzle brake option. We have the standard muzzle brake and the suppressor. And the suppressor uses the vanilla 50 caliber suppressor, which I like a lot on this weapon. Alright, and then we finally move to the damage test section of this video. We'll be testing this weapon out on 2 standard death claws, running 2 tests. One is going to be the standard version of the rifle with no attachments and no perks, and the other version will be the highest damage I could achieve with the various modifications at the weapon's workbench. So let's go ahead and start with the standard version of the rifle, aiming at the Deathclaw's weak spot. Let's see how we do. One shot puts us at about half health. Let's see if we can put him down in 2. And he's just nearly dead. We're going to use a 3rd shot to put him down. That's a shame that it's going to take more than 2. Pretty lengthy reload just to do a tiny bit of damage. Let's see how we do with the fully upgraded version. My guess is for a 1 shot. And I would be correct. This thing is very, very powerful with the high explosive rounds and fully upgraded receiver. Pretty crazy. So that is the AMAC 1500 by Tactical. I really, really like this weapon. This thing is super cool. It is quite a trade-off for the super, super high damage, but at the cost of a lengthy reload, which makes for a pretty balanced weapon. Good for late game, really min-maxing the damage, but if you don't get them with the first shot, it's probably worth switching out to something else that you can throw out lead a little bit faster. Definitely worth grabbing this one. I think it fits in just about every load order I can imagine. It's a high-power sniper rifle. It's something from the real world as a prototype weapon, but it definitely fits the lore-friendly aesthetic of Fallout as well. So I highly recommend checking this one out. If you'd like to, there will be a link down in the description below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a rating. Subscribe if you haven't already for more videos just like this, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace! And really quick, I'd like to make a shout out to all of our patrons. Your donations are greatly appreciated and really help to support the channel and videos just like this one. So again, thank you.